Greetings. Welcome back to the Mad Poet Podcast. I am Alex Murdoch, the Mad Poet, your host. Good to be here. Been quite looking forward to this meeting with this person. Quite the unique and intriguing skill set. I would imagine thoughts on life and perception and viewpoint, so to speak. You struck me as very much being a researcher as well, so that was quite intriguing for me. So, just to quote your resume slightly, TED speaker, composer, transforming space exploration into symphonic experiences. Miss Amanda Falkenberg. I hope I got your name right, miss. How are you? Welcome.
I'm great. It's lovely to meet you, Alex. Thanks for having me on your show.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. As I said, I was quite intrigued just reading about you and just the inspiration and some of the compositions that you've created pertaining to music and different things, and just the way you view the world. That did definitely catch my eye and found it very intriguing.
It's been an intriguing journey.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Will you allow me to share something? This is a piece, a quote from a piece. I always say. Discerned about the accolades, I am but a seeker of the process, a chink in the armor of evolution, a Kama Sutra in nature as I breathe in proclamation of my blessings, which I am fortunate to decree my own. To such moments I lay at destiny's doors, growth through my essence, so the mind may need nor blinds. The darkness may tickle, but never putrid to my spirit, for I understand it. Like a waving hand, breathing homeostasis inside me all the time. Through the confines, I will be primed for my ascension. Seldom cause, but I am only human. I must stay ready. Such is my life's statement. Yeah.
Is that what you want, Alex? That was really deep. There's a lot in there to unpack.
Thank you. In the occasion, I thought to myself, I really wanted to find something that would match the occasion and just something I thought might resonate with you.
It truly does. Is that so? You just composed that recently, did you? You've had that before?
I think it was maybe about a month or 2 months ago, this piece.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was relatively recent. Recent. But yes, there's usually a lot to unpack, but it's somewhat cosmic, this one. But
Voted.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So much to discover about the world. And it's funny because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just one of life's quagmire, as they say.
And yet the cosmos is just such an inspirational template for us artists to create from. And the cosmos is, there's something that every one of us can relate to, and it's such an appealing real estate for creatives to roll around in, and whether it's poetry, music, art, it is just never ceases to just inspire the daylights out of most of us, I feel.
Absolutely. Okay. To be curious, where did the connection between the science of the solar system and musical art begin for you, or at least the interrelation of the two?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's very answerable in terms of I was composing for another major work. It was a piano concerto back in 2017, and I was in between film projects, and I decided to write about a topic that I love, and that is full moons. And I based my whole composition. It's kind of abstract in nature, but I was excited by the topic. And so I was almost finished writing my 10-minute piano concerto. And I thought I'd just step out of my studio and do some research on the name of the concerto, which was Crossing of the Crescent Moon. And I was just doing some research on ancient symbolism and those kind of just sort of looking for just deeper meaning behind the crescent moon. And then I stumbled across a website that said 10 of the weirdest moons of our solar system. And honestly, Alex, it was like a lightning bolt that went through me, because I'm like, oh my goodness, these moons need music. Yeah. And I couldn't wait to finish my piano concerto, because I thought, wow, there's more moons that I could be writing for. And so that's how the project got started. I thank my piano concerto and the research that I was doing at that point of the creative phase. And so, yeah, that's how I came across, I bumped into this project, I guess. And I remember, I think that same week that the inspiration struck, I was even Googling, just trying to see if anyone else out there had sort of come across this kind of concept, and I was there was nothing there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, seems such an incredible opportunity. I just didn't want to let go of, and I was so invested, I was so committed to seeing these moons and in music and being a film composer. I know the power of music. It's it's so transformative, it's so impactful if you can just find the right musical formula and have the right storyline. And I really wanted to see what I could do with their stories as a film composer and bring more visibility to their worlds back here on planet Earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very interesting, because, but I have to say, I can see how much this means, because you just light up when you speak about it. And that's one of the first things, I think is so inspiring when somebody speak about their work and it means so much to them, the passion behind, what we do. And what you speak about is somewhat speaks to somewhat of, your the first few words that you spoke about pertaining to us and the world that we sort of what came to my mind was, you discover certain things and it just opens up a whole new world for you. And that's what sort of strikes me to what you've experienced, perhaps. And maybe that's something that just becomes a cycle, because, as we all fall in love with the process, don't we, with what we do. And so it's refreshing because it's new, but it's the same thing. So hence the process of it. But at the same time, you're constantly creating or exposing yourself to these new worlds or having new beginnings. And I think that's such a powerful thing, especially within the world that you're in. And, but of course, the craft, I guess, is the ability to share that with people.
I think that is what was so compelling to me, because I really saw myself seated in the role of a director of a feature film, and I was, this science was the scripts of my feature film, and I got to not only play composer but director, and I got to cast call the moons, and I got to wear all these different hats, and I was just absolutely in love with the process. And I didn't have to compete with like sound effects or voiceover or any of those kind of tricky things that a film composer has to be mindful of, because I was running the show. And so I just really was so I was so invested in making sure that their world could be represented as absolutely impactfully as I possibly could, because they really spoke to me. Like, it was such a strange encounter when I saw these moons, and I remember looking at the article saying the 10 of the weirdest moons in our solar system. I'm like, I was defending them. It was such a strange thing. I'm like, they're not weird, they're wonderful. What's this person talking about? And I kind of, felt sorry for them. And I remember when I saw them, I went, there's just two words that came to me: these moons need music. And then the very second thing was, these moons need emotion. It's such a strange combination, like looking at these other worlds, but that is truly what struck me when I saw them. And that's a pretty powerful, sort of teaming up of instructions to sort of go forth and plan out this project, this moons project. But I felt like that is a really good starting point for me, because that's all you really ever want to do as a film composer, is to create these immersive, emotional landscapes, which I truly just love. That is my happy place. And I thought, gosh, I really would be so curious to see how I could, like you said, use the craft and really manifest a platform to amplify their stories and their worlds, so other people could be drawn to them as much as I was, and it still am.
It's very interesting you say that, because I was thinking to myself, man, one of the things I was curious about is, what's the allure to, you wanted to sort of kind of ingratiate and just understand this whole thing that you're looking at, and just, make people see what you see. And anthropomorphism, I hope I said that right, but when you said they need music sort of thing, that's what sort of kind of come to me, because moon, but at the same time, that's just a humanistic expression or experience to want music or need music. But to sort of have the inspiration to impression that ideal onto somebody else, so they can see what you see pertaining to these moons. I mean, that's very it's abstract, but it's so artistic at the same time,
I love the way you say that. And I think because I've written a lot of soundtracks for some quite like emotive based films, and I really do like I mean, the cinematic, big sweeping symphonic landscape is my favorite type of composing. Big epic film scores is my thing, and of course space is epic, so it was a beautiful match right there. But I just feel, because music is so transportive, music is so powerful, and to experience a great story with a really compelling soundtrack, it is just, I just get goosebumps just even saying that combination. If you can really, find that sweet spot, that X factor, and truly, elevate the experience for the audience, the listener, the film goer, you've done, it can be the most incredible alchemy out there, like truly. And it's not easy, it takes a lot to sort of really, be very dedicated, very focused. And there was times when I'd written 7 days non-stop of music for one of the moons, and it just wasn't resonating with me, and I just scrapped it, because I'm like, I'm not going to put something out there that's not, feeling resonant with me. And so it's, it's not an easy path, but I was very committed. I'm still very committed. And but just to see the impact that people can experience by being in the presence of a great story, of a great musical soundtrack, and seeing them emotively respond to that, there's just nothing more you could ask for than that type of response as an artist. And it's never guaranteed, but boy, it's so deeply satisfying when you do get the that type of reaction from anyone and everyone. So I think that's your ultimate quest, truly. Well, at least it has been for me, is to just try and get on board as many people as possible to truly be triggered in such a profound, beautiful way by the experience.
That's very profound. It so much so that, I wonder, or at least I'm curious. I mean, are there anybody to? It's such a clandestine thing to, what I mean, to do what you do, pertaining to the inspiration mind. Is there anybody to sort of that perhaps inspired this route to actually being curious, to actually discovering what you've discovered?
Well, I think I've always just, and I hope this is probably super cliched, be a very, very big fan of to team up his craft with, these big epic soundtracks. And also, and he's one of the things that I've absolutely loved about one of his interviews is, he's constantly on a quest. He'll just tinker around with a theme until in his words, it sounds inevitable. And I just absolutely love his plan, and that's how I set out, as if working at something until it sounds inevitable, and it was always existed. And that was my approach for this Moons project. And so I think John Williams, and seeing his just genius, team up with, the cosmos and obviously the Star Wars franchise and all this kind of stuff. I mean, secretly, I felt like I was creating, a kind of a moon, a new kind of a moon sort of, not stars, but moon sort of John Williams-y thing sort of. And I thought, right, this is such great content to play around with in the style of an epic John Williams approach. So it's certainly been that, but it's certainly been my classical training. I've spent decades, learning the craft as a concert pianist, and then road started leading to composing. Started off with like miniature piano pieces, and then it just evolved. I just wanted to work with the full orchestra because of the textures and the colors are just incredible. And I just feel like as a composer, I think most artists might feel like this if you're really in your zone, and whether you're a writer, or a painter, or a musician, or composer, whatever. If you really are in that zone, it is such a deeply healing experience. Like there's just, and so it's just like, it's almost like the universe rewards you for like investing in, the unknown and, the creative adventure that you're on. But you just, as long as you're just getting, you just feel like I at least just felt like I was getting dosed most of the time, not always, there's some tricky paths. It's not all a walk in the park, but if you're really, like I said, in the zone, there's such an incredible healing energy that just, I can't describe it. It just is so, it's so addictive, like just so nourishing and warming, and it's almost like the sign from the universe to say, keep going, you're on your path. And so, I don't know, that's just kind of some of my experiences.
I think that's amazing. And for me personally, that speaks to so much. And I think that's one of maybe the most, people always say, oh man, I just feel like I'm healing or I'm healed, so to speak. And it's just so many different experiences that we go through. But I also think there's a humbleness when you do it right, or maybe when you approach it in a healthy way, so to speak, because you sort of see that it's not necessarily just about yourself, and it speaks to the alignment that you mentioned as well, where it's sort of, you're in a state of being one. But also, I like the way I like to think about it is when I do what I do, it's more like I'm a conduit, and I'm somewhat just tapping in, just connected so deeply to what I do, and everything is just so aligned, and it just gives me this connection for me to somewhat transmute not just emotions, but that cerebral state that gives me the ability to somewhat formulate, and I'm giving my essence to go with it. So I think that's where the level of uniqueness comes from, where you don't necessarily I mean, we all somewhat have similar gifts in a lot of ways in different disciplines. But I'd say that's the differentiation to the identity or the DNA of the artist or the creator, where there's always a distinction and it separates you. So somebody looks at your work and they just know, okay, yeah, this is him, sort of thing, or this is not him. You know, so you can't claim it if you're not that person, because there is always telltale signs. And I think, you know, these uniqueness are somewhat these little characteristics that's just singular to this person. You know,
and I think that's the word we want to probably start throwing around is authenticity. I mean, it takes, I think, for an artist to reach that. I mean, you know, I've been doing this gig for many, many decades now. So, but I think along the way you develop, you know, like they always say, the more you sort of listen to your intuition and that gut feeling to guide and use, and that has been a huge part of my process, is the inner compass that I've always resorted to help sort of guide and shape my journey to make sure if I'm going in the right direction. And, you know, as I say, the more you use that, the stronger it becomes. And I think that has been everything to me. Someone used to ask me, you know, how do you compose? I said, I always starts with a feeling inside of my stomach. It never starts up here. And, you know, and interestingly enough, that sort of does align with the energy vortex, the chakra system as well. As creativity is in that region. Yeah. So I thought, wow, that's super interesting. And I think, you know, we're all born with that gift. We're all born with that ability to super tap into that inner space, that inner world. And I think as an artist, you just want to try and access it sooner than later, because it's a pretty wild part of, you know, an existence to be playing around in. Because what if you, like you said, when you're in that zone, and I think you said something else, you're the conduit. I love that. When you are, and I think in terms of frequency as well, when you're in that perfect frequency, you know, just doors just open up, and you just really, you're not even in your body, like you just don't have no concept of time. You're just so engrossed in the matter of hands, whatever it's just such a beautiful existence, you know, when you're in, like I said. So it is just, you know, to stay there and keep like being curious about what's going to happen next.
It's amazing because, you know, and when I think about it, just as you speak about it, I just, you know, I sort of have a certain lens where I can sort of recognize it in different disciplines, so to speak. And it shows up in variations. You know, we speak about frequency all the time. So sometimes to get to that within a certain space, it's totally different. And I also, you know, even in sports, because I also see sports people as natural creatives. And I've grown to understand that there's a certain transmutation of the energy that, you know, someone might use to be a sports person to convert to be a creative, you know. So it's a fine line, so to speak. And the reason why I mention that is, you know, sometimes you might hear certain people talk about the pain, and the pain somewhat is the truth. There's purity in that, and there's information also, there's understanding, there's also limitations, but there's also the ability to overcome limitations, you know. And on the other side, you might have, like we're talking about, the creative person. And it's just the ability to tap in, to connect. Not necessarily pain, but like I said, it's a fine line, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate. And but it's the journey at the same time. It's just so many different processes going on at the same time. and it's just it's telling. And it's like you said, you know, and I think this is the greatest part. Sometimes it just starts with a stimulus. It could come in many forms. And, you know, at the start that we spoke about, you mentioned just a whole new world sort of thing. And to me, that's what creating is about. It's but the biggest thing I would like to mention about this is the fact that it makes me understand a lot of times when, you know, certain people, as you mentioned, authenticity, you refuse to compromise, because I think that somewhat, just tap into this word, discombobulates your alignment somewhat, you know, jittery, rough, sometimes out of flux extremely, and it takes you years to get it back. And you never want to risk that, because, as you said, this state is it's so special. It's harmonizing. You know, it's hard to get to, for one. It takes years. So when you're there, you never want to compromise that, I think. And I think that's it's so special. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I just absolutely, and I think the more we, you know, enter this, you know, AI phase, this whole new technology that is infiltrating our lives, and you know, I absolutely feel so convinced there's going to be a renaissance for all of us to return even more than ever to that creative urges and impulses, and just that core essence that is our soul, to be creative human beings on this planet. And you know, I feel like, you know, the scales have to kind of obviously just do a little bit of this with this whole sort of technology, and I think that's another thing I loved about, like, the time scale of my project. I did it absolutely before any AI was you know, in view of, yeah. So I was like, because this project's been 8 years in the making now, so I feel so blessed about that, Alex, because you know, there was just like nothing that could have, anything AI has gone in this project, which I'm really grateful for, actually. But I do feel like you know, I feel like the traits of all of us, our inner, you know, creative souls, are probably going to want to really come out even more than usual, I think, once we're through this big AI sort of honeymoon phase, I guess you could call it, and realize that actually we want to just do stuff ourselves. We want to use our own brain and heart and soul. And so I feel like, I mean, as I'm actually I'm a teacher, I'm a boutique teacher out here in Dubai, and I'm finding a pattern, really interesting pattern with my students. They are so hungry for the old, you know, the traditional paper and pencils and rulers and rubbers, and they get so excited when I set up an activity that requires these items. And I'm actually developing a course. I don't know if I shared that with you, but I'm developing a whole new educational online course for my moon symphony called Lunar, and I'm taking participants through all the 7 moons, and because it's all based around science fact, not sci-fi adventures, science fact adventures. And so the thing is when I was you know, really getting into the research and the science, I really felt that there's an opportunity to turn all this around into some interdisciplinary opportunity for students to engage with all the senses, which is what we're talking about here. So, and I didn't realize we were going to enter an age of AI back then, but I'm so pleased I'm now in the position where I'm creating my Lunar program, because it is all about this stuff that we're just talking about, you know, using your intuition to arrive at some reflective comments about listening to the symphony and looking at the science, and sort of very interdisciplinary. So, and I feel that this course could be very timed with where we're headed as species, and AI is such a big part of our journey right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's massive, and Man, you sound like you're doing some really inspiring work. And again, it's just, I'm curious about, I was curious about what inspires you, but it's very telling and just where you are. And I could be wrong, but I surmise that you're very in a stage of, you just want to share where you've been or where you are and just give back. And I think it's such a harmonious, as I mentioned, place to be in. And it's cathartic, It's special.
And I think this journey has been wild. And it only started out with 6 moons. It was never going to be 7 moons, but there I was feeling very strange about halfway through my symphony, something didn't feel right, and I was just focusing on this science of these 6 moons I had hand selected to feature. And for 2 weeks, something didn't feel right. And I was actually composing for a moon, the furthest in the symphony of Uranus, Moon Miranda. And her world has been, a very, she's had a brutal time out there in the outer solar system. And the drama of her story is quite epic. And she's the 5th movement in my symphony. But it was during the creation of her world and putting her story to music that I found the 7th movement, the 7th story, and I realised what was missing in my symphony is this journey, but we needed to come back to Earth to experience our planet from the surface of our moon, looking down on the gift of life that we have, and there's no life out there in our solar system. And so that has just been wild. I never set out to have some sort of spiritual enlightenment, but it's true. And I think the reason why I'm saying that to you, Alex, is because then I teamed up with my astronaut friend Nicole Stott to help, so I found a way to sort of speak with her about her experiences seeing Earth from off the planet. And so I explained to her my encounter with Miranda, and she basically said, Amanda, you've had your Earthrise. They call this Earthrise when, you're seeing Earth rising above the planet. And she was absolutely right. And I think because I've seen the impact of the story and the journey, we've beta tested this a lot. We've had a couple live performances now, or at least the adapted version of the Moon Symphony, and seen the impact, Alex. That is why I've got quite lots of people who are really campaigning around the message of this. It's not necessarily just about the music. There is a big theme behind the story and the music, and I think that's why a lot of us are really keen to roll this out onto as many stages as possible so that people can truly have their Earthrise without having to leave Earth's orbit in a spacecraft. So I think there's another whole other layer of, drive that's really making me so dedicated to this mission because of the impact that it's had for those who've been interacting with it. And so that's why I think I'm super keen and curious to see, how the lunar program is also going to resonate with everyone, because that really unpacks the science and really gets under the music. And I'm just having an absolute wonderful time unpacking that. It's a big commitment, but I'm just so on board to making sure that this happens. I feel like I'm writing 7 symphonies on top of the 1 symphony already written. So, but I feel like it's could make a really big impact on people out there. So I'm curious to see what can happen from that. But yeah, so it's just this other big themes that are around the music and the story that's behind it all.
I think it's amazing. I really just enjoy hearing your story and what you're doing. I think it's special, and yes, definitely needed. So yeah, I'm happy. Even I'm curious. I really want to just dive deeper into what you've been doing. Very interesting to me. This is special. Thank you for giving me some of your time. We don't have much time, but we do have a few minutes if you want to share anything else before we wrap things up.
Well, I just wanted to thank you. I just absolutely love this interaction that we've had. It's not often you get to have these deep dives into the artistic realm with an artist like yourself. So thank you so much for having me on, and to share the story and to share the inspiration. I just I think you were sort of saying before, lucky of those of us who are just so curious about how far we can take creativity and have an impact, leave some sort of legacy if it's even possible while we're spending our time on planet Earth. And that just for some reason just seems really important to me. Just doing good on planet Earth, and being as an inspirational person as possible, and so that others can feel inspired and take action and do cool things on planet Earth as well. I think that's so hopefully just a beautiful virtuous circle. Us artists especially, we try and try and manifest that kind of circle of inspiration, really. And I just think it's a nice way to live out our time on planet Earth.
Yeah, I mean, I think what somewhat defines us as humans are our weaknesses and our ability to connect. So, our ecosystems and our sense of community is so much more pivotal because of it. So I think that's where art comes in. So if we can somewhat, utilize some of these tools that we've gained over the years to kind of connect more with ourselves and our surroundings, then we have so much more in common. So
absolutely beautifully said. And the natural world as well. I think that's the thing that I love about how science began. They were observing the natural world, and I think as artists we're always told to look to nature for inspiration and then the cosmos, and so happier us, especially I think it's we're very lucky to call ourselves artists in whatever capacity that is for the individual, and it's just very awesome speaking with other artists about their journey as well. So thank you so much, Alex, for your poetry and your philosophical insights on it all as well.
Thanks so much, Amanda Falkenberg. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much. Take care.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Mind over matter, overcompensating, overstatements, crookedness related, the soul's churn in return, mental overstimulation, one way.